Hey guys. All right, so today I have with me Super Stealthy Pancake here and Flame Zombie down there. Nice to stream with you guys. I don't think I've talked with you before, Flame Zombie. I don't know why. Haven't
No,
played any
just like
games with you.
in comments on stream. Yeah, our schedules have just like
Yeah.
if you know me, my schedule is nightmarish. It's it's working 12-hour
Yeah,
shifts will do that. That's
for sure. But anyway, we're talking about the 4D mixtape. As you can tell from the thumbnail and the title, we're gonna let people roll in.
yeah.
Space already says thumbnail looks great. And of course it does, because the product is great. Sup, Ponder? Thank you for tagging everyone, Ponder. What's up, Ear Trumpet? So the 4D mixtape, it's a 168-page collection. So far, it's a PDF. There might be a physical product coming soon. Of games, scenarios, essays made by like 10, 15 different creators, 5 different artists or more, something like that. So it's a huge thing, and it's pay what you want. So you could pay nothing, could be absolutely free. You could pay $1 million if you really want to.
You should pay that.
Can.
You should pay that, please.
17 contributors. Thank you, Rody. They're all from the 4D Discord, so it's built with 4D principles in mind. But basically, what it is it starts with a blurb kind of about what 4D is. Then it has a basic game engine that all of the games in it use, and some of the games use that engine exactly as is. Some of them have some fiddly bits that say, in my game, this is a little bit different. You need a couple extra rules. But they all use that frame at the beginning. And then we've got lots of interesting scenarios. Tons of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, there are some very creative people who made this book. And although I added one element, I don't consider myself one of them.
Oh, far too humble. Usually, I find the guys that are the most humble are also the guys that are doing the best work on anything. So, but it's basically, it reminds me a lot of old Dragon magazine, or White Dwarf, if you guys, where it's a collection of different authors that are working, but instead of magazine size, where it's a full book size at this point, but it's kind of a fanzine. Some of it's game specific stuff. You got different characters, different scenario ideas, different just musings on the hobby. Lots of great information in there. I myself haven't been able to read through it all yet, and it's just because every time I read through something, I'm like, man, that is only like 5 to 10 pages, but there's really interesting stuff going on. It's everyone was using the less is more principle for sure.
Absolutely. I'm still going through it myself. Lots of really cool stuff.
I am ashamed to admit I have not read all of the entries, but
yes, I don't think I know happens. There's a call to action.
Oh yes. Yes, thank you. Get me to 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Let's make it happen.
Anyway, why don't we go ahead and crack it open?
Yeah.
Here we are. Okay. Look, first off,
really awesome title.
Yeah.
We had such talented artists working on this.
Yeah. They were great.
Roleplay solves everything. Sean Driscoll. And then we got this nice page there. Okay. So this kind of explains I guess we kind of explained what it is, but I'll go ahead and read that. A compilation of works by various folks who strive to play in character as much as possible. Game scenarios and supplements built on the same base system, a simplified version of Mithras Imperative that is friendly to 4D play. And I guess a little disclaimer, it is a very simplified version of Mithras Imperative. You're not going to see like hit locations, special effects, but it does use that basic engine. maybe a lot of people watching this already know what 4D is, but if you don't, in simplest terms, it's an effort to get in character as frequently as possible and stay in character for as long as possible. Yeah, you can go through this. It has some basic instructions on that. If you really want to get into 4D, I'd suggest watching some videos. Tyler's got a great channel. Table Runner Crispy. Roll On Buddy, Off the Rails Roleplay. They're all very good. And of course, you can get the 4D Beginner's Handbook that explains it all.
Yeah.
Or most of it.
Yeah, I was about to say put an asterisk on there, but yeah. It's a work in progress. We're still figuring out what this whole 4D thing is with all of you guys, right?
Right.
As Space Roadie is frequent to remind us, it started as a joke.
Yeah. A lot of fun. You guys really took the idea and ran with it. Grateful I got to contribute with a couple of art pieces.
Your stuff is really cool, Zonalar.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
I love how great channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Zonalar is another guy that does his Crimes Against Roleplay series. Will kind of, in contrast, give you the what we don't want to do in 4D or in really any style. I think there's a lot of things that you could say are objectively not pleasing about the hobby, but that's another discussion for another time.
I believe if you scroll to the end of the basic rules, there's a really awesome 2-page spread of one of Zonalar's art pieces as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love how that one. Yeah. And I love how all of the art is both disparate, but doesn't. It almost clashes in a cool way. Like there's so many different styles in here, and going through. It's one of the problems with the AI slop epidemic is not even just that it's AI slop, but that everything starts to look the same, right?
Yeah.
It's just amalgamating. Even if you tell it to do a style, well, everything's going to look like that style. It's so having stuff done by hand, even when it's just like collage images like that and edited, you can tell who edited. You can tell who did the art. You can tell. It's it feels very human.
Yeah, and I think what kind of draws it all together is that it's all so like passionate and well done.
Yeah,
that it doesn't clash with each other because it's just so cool to read through.
Okay.
Yes, for PDF readers, everyone's favorite topic. Oh my god. It's the worst format. It's terrible. I'm going on a sidebar right now while David figures this out. PDF is the worst format. It should have died 10 years ago, if not longer ago. It doesn't compress data well. It doesn't read well. None of the readers like using it. They pretty much all crash constantly. I don't know. Adobe has the market by a stranglehold, and they need to be stopped. We need to find a better format. I worked in publishing for years, and PDFs are it's the last thing you do is converting things to PDF, and it's the most editors are swearing. It's
that's so funny. So I'm looking at this like online. I think I don't have an option to share like directly from Adobe PDF or whatever. So we'll just go with this. The pageation will be off, but know that if you look at it in your own PDF reader, you'll see it lined up.
Or when you get the physical book.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so if you weren't reading this already, like while we were yammering on how to roleplay in the 4D style, say where you are, say what you do in the moment, and what your character says. Keep description visual in the moment. GM is not present. Talk in first person, present tense. Nothing happens until you describe it. Out of character chatter, table talk, meta comments not allowed. And that's the gist of it. What's up, G-Funk? Now I get onto the game system itself. So it's built off Renters Imperative. So you're rolling 2d10 dice. That's a d100. Read it as a tens place and a ones place. And the gist of the system is you roll under your skill rating to succeed. Failure is if you roll above it. A critical is when you roll less than or equal to a tenth of your rating. And then a fumble is just 99 or 100. And it goes into what criticals and fumbles mean. People use those to different effects in their games. A rule for improvement. If something's harder or easier, you can make it increase your skill or decrease your skill by 20, that kind of thing. As you can see here, the modifiers. There you go. Opposed rolls. Crit beats success, beats failure, beats fumble. In case of a tie, the highest result wins. Got your classic characteristics, and those calculate your hit points, damage modifier, magic points if you have that, and then you can change magic points to whatever you want in your own game, make it stress or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I think multiple of us basically did.
Mm-hmm.
We turned magic points into a stress level.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I saw that in one of them.
I hope you do ponder.
Yes, we are
to the second game jam.
Yeah, and I think what's awesome is that there will be a second one is a foregone conclusion. As soon as we finish this, before we even had it up, everyone was like, "All right, I'll have to make this for the second one." It's like, "All right, there we go."
Yeah, I was thinking of making one too, kind of like Metro 2033.
Ooh, yeah.
It's because I played Primetime, MMCV's game, and there was a I guess we'll talk about it later, but there was lots of vehicles, and I was like, okay, this is so fun. I need to make a game with lots of vehicles and weapons that you can attach to those vehicles.
Yeah. Stuff on rails, that'd be awesome. Hey, Austin.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
What's up? So we're just going through the book, going through the basic rules right now, and then we'll go through each of y'all's creations.
Well, the basic rules are amazing.
They're very straightforward, right?
Well, they're from Mithras, so they have to be amazing.
Yep.
There you go. This page has like a quick and dirty way to make NPCs. You have a level ranging from 40 to 80, and then based off of that level, you get their hit points and how skilled they are at things, and that's pretty much all you need. Give some examples for that. You've got your skill list, and it's I think 15 skills.
Yeah, we deliberated over this skill list for quite a while, trying to make sure it covered a wide swath without being too specific.
Yep.
Yeah, I find that's an issue a lot of crunchier games can have, is you do need to answer the question, are you just trying to reinvent the wheel here, right? Like Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, pretty infamous for having your search and spot. And it's like, okay, come on.
Yeah, that specific skill list, a lot of it came from Space Roadie's experience, he's the one that I think it's under his publishing page on Drive-Thru. He deserves the massive shout out for all the work he did and put into this project.
Yeah, can we just say Space Roadie is the best of us?
Yes, he worked with the hellacious publishing effort that this has been. So any typos and errors you can ignore. Know that this was all done in less than a month. So any of our typos are, it is amazing that he was able to put this together in that short amount of time.
Yeah,
and
then
I
it
would
looks
add,
so great.
I would add, let me put some heat on major publishing companies that struggle to do half of this in years of time with millions of dollars at their disposal, still end up coming out with, I have a copy of 5th edition where the whole book is printed upside down. It is really astonishing. The self-publishing tools out there, while still very messy, are giving you, they can allow us to be as capable as the big publishing companies. It's really an amazing time to be in this space.
For sure.
It's really encouraging to see what you can get done when you've got 15, 20 people working on this project, and how fast you can get it done and how good you can get it to look.
Yeah.
But I guess those I don't know how many people you have working on a project at WotC or Paizo or whatever.
10 people, then you fire them, then 10
know.
people, then you fire them, then 10 people, then you fire them, and that's that was at least the joke weeks around the offices when I worked for them.
That's probably what it was. We have a suggestion for PDF reader, PDF exchange editor. Okay.
Oh, keep that in mind.
If you're on Reddit, or not Reddit, if you're on Linux, I like Ocular.
Ocular. I should have said this at the very beginning, but the link to the drive-through page is in the description. You can click on that, pay what you want. Again, could be free. You could pay $1 million. That might get flagged. I don't know. But you can.
The more you pay, the more I love you.
That's true.
So keep that in mind.
Very true. Okay.
If a stripper tells you that, don't believe her.
That's when it's the most true.
No. My cat is trying to jump into a bucket full of water over here. If you're wondering what I'm doing.
Yes.
I think she stopped.
You can buy multiple copies.
Yeah, there just buy one for $9,999 and then buy another one for $1.
Buy one for each author. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. And the any proceeds is going to all the authors.
Yes, so they are split very generously.
Which is funny because I'm going to be putting that money back in when he releases the physical copy.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell them my plan. Yeah, so for all the basic rules, they were hashed out pretty spiritedly in the Game Jam channels. I don't think there's a single section that was like everyone agreed on at the very beginning.
That sounds about right.
So I would say I didn't make a game in this, but I contributed this one rule here, the death and dying. No one argued that because I'm a great writer, I guess. But there you go. Conway, I know you say you didn't have time to join, but you're here now. If you want, we're gonna have a 5th person here. Up to you.
Trenchpunk is so cool.
It really is.
It's a great aesthetic.
Absolutely.
The tagline is fantastic too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna invite what's his name real quick, if he can jump in.
I'll send him the link.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, back to this. So damage, you don't need an extra die for damage. It's whatever the ones place is of your D100 roll, that's your damage. And
speaking certain of heated debate about the rules.
Yeah, some of us wanted the tens place to be the damage, but that's what happened. So it is the ones place. And then if you have a bonus to your weapon, +1, +3, +4, you add that. A critical hit always does the max, so 10 plus whatever your bonus is. Then death and dying, when you're at 0 or less, you're incapacitated, that usual kind of thing. And then as we were saying, weapons get bonuses to them. Armor reduces damage. And equipment is common sense. Whatever would make sense for you, go ahead and wear that.
I love all the quotes in the intro.
Yeah. We had Shauna at the beginning. Roleplay solves everything. Crispy with a word of encouraging advice. Big Bad, very straightforward advice. Just stay in character. Whatever you do, stay in character. Okay, then we got a guide for character creation. Concept first. Sometimes I'll roll up a character and then create a concept from that. Both ways are fun to me. But yeah, concept. You can roll 3d6s or do point buy for those.
That's another thing, a whole can of worms there. That's another thing I don't hear people talking about that I need to make a video on. It's a long list at this point. I hope to make some over the weekend. But top down versus bottom up character design. Which do you start with? The character concept, then add the mechanics, or mechanics, then make the character concept? It's an interesting.
This is off topic too, but another cool video would be we usually come up with a setting and then characters. I think if it's like high fantasy enough, you could come up with characters and then the setting and be like, okay, how do these all fit together?
Yeah, how did these people come to exist? Yeah, what world would they make sense in? That
would be
cool
fun.
Cool ideas.
Anyway, we got hit points, damage modifier. So you get a bonus from your damage modifier as well as a bonus from whatever weapon you have. 4D style requires a high level of trust. It's a collaborative experience, not a competitive one. Mr. Max.
Oh, there's Mr. Max.
Mm-hmm.
And then you assign skills from the pyramid.
I would like to say this skill pyramid is really nice, especially for one-shots, because you start with highly capable characters.
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense for this application.
Yep. For the number of skills you have, that's like a good sized pyramid.
I would almost always rather play a competent character in a really difficult situation than just play an incompetent character. I would rather the difficulty be external, right? And it feels like, damn, I lost because the other guy was that much more badass than I lost because I'm an idiot. Like, you know.
Man, I love playing a loser.
It can be fun from time to time, though. That's true.
It can be, you know, that mud core, everything's hard. Sure. But like a lot of times I'll get upset, like Call of Cthulhu. I'm like, why am I just failing at everything?
Right. Like, you know, I'm trying, my guy's, you know, his best skill is at guns. And you're telling me I'm like, you know, and a lot of it has to do with GM adjudication of how did you fail it, right? But it's like, dude, you're telling me I'm like dropping my whole speed loader and like just like doing basic Butterfingers shit.
Yeah.
It really be like that.
Let's go through the game. So we got Stomp Titans. That's by Nicholas or Itera RPG on YouTube.
Yeah.
That one is very cool because you can be the kaiju.
I like the modes of play in this game.
Yeah.
It's got so much personality too. I love the art style.
Yeah.
So you can be the GM. That's, you know, not in the game. You're the GM, and then you have the kaiju, and you have the players controlling the mech. Or you can have the GM be the kaiju, and you don't really have a GM. You just have the kaiju versus the mech.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I like the character sheet. Can you pull up the character sheet for that one?
Yeah.
That's so neat.
Yeah. Very clean, very simple.
Notice how the skill list is really shortened for this one because it's a very focused game.
Yeah. Meister How. This is Tyler's edition. Not really a game, but a essay, I suppose.
Yeah, you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, a supplement, some musings. Basically, I did something completely different. I made mine totally system agnostic. So you can use the system that's in the beginning of the book. You can use anything else. I've used a little bit of formatting to basically say anything's underlined, use your game's equivalent. I try to use terminology that most games have something for. Some games will call it stun. You might not have a stun, but you might have a slowing mechanic. And I presume, dear reader, that you have enough intelligence to be able to come up with, that's where it goes for. But basically, I went with a recent lamentation by Crispy and a lamentation by a lot of people, the dreaded I attack. Yuri SC, who you'll see in some of our comments from time to time, and Shauner would always make the joke of, the players are usually silent until combat happens, and then you hear I attack it. And that's it. And you'll start losing wait, there's 4 goblins? I don't know, I attacked the one on the left. And you're painting no picture about what's going on. And more than combat being slow, which is a very commonly complained about thing, even outside of 4D, combat is just flat boring, because you go from, I swing my sword at it, I punch it in the face, at best. The lengthy descriptions are often beaten out, and you shouldn't necessarily be using a lengthy description, but a more flavorful description.
Yeah, evocative.
Right. Crispy was lamenting that, well, in a lot of the HEMA space, the historical European martial arts space, of which I'm an instructor, the terminology is very artful. And even in modern Olympic fencing, I mean, we have fléché and first, second, and third intention strikes. And we have these terms of art that, unless everybody at your table is in the know, you're going to say it and everyone's going to go, huh? You don't want that reaction. So this is sort of how to make your sword combat in particular. I was going to cover other things, but brevity is not my strong suit. So particularly how sword combat can be made a lot more interesting. And I kind of go over how on a sword, there are multiple different weapons. And I picked this great image from Joachim Meyer's 1570 treatise, where he has these modified armored fighting swords where the pommel is spiked, the crossguard is shaped into like a little axe blade, and then a spike on the other end. And then, so every single bit of the sword can be used as a weapon.
This is one of my most looked forward to entries in the mixtape. Watch out for our upcoming Mythic Britain game. I'm going to try implementing these tips.
Awesome.
I will as well. Yeah,
it's so cool, and it's hard to just tell a player to be more descriptive without giving them a vocabulary to work with, and I think that's what makes this so awesome.
Right, and I didn't want to, and it's done in I think 9 pages, less than 10 pages at least.
It's very short.
So it's a lot easier of a pill to swallow than go watch 2.5 hours of HEMA videos on YouTube. Go read through a 500-year-old treatise that's 160 pages long. And yeah, no, you don't have to do all that. Go through those for images, certainly, but I've left you a couple here to give you an idea, particularly on some of the more niche stuff. Because, of course, those treatises will show things as simple as a guy swinging his sword and cutting someone's hand off. But I think we all know that that's possible. So I specifically chose these few images because they show some of the interesting things. Like if you go back to the first image there, not the first, but the second, the one preceding this one.
Go to the page.
Yeah. If you go through here, you can just look at this image and see that he's using his sword to hook around the other guy's leg. And, he's not even using it for its blade. He's just using it as a stick, basically, a tool to grapple with. And so all of the different things that people probably aren't thinking about.
Yeah,
at least in my experience. Yeah.
That blue guy looks like he's not having a great time.
No, he's not.
And he's not even damaged.
Yeah, not yet anyways.
Oh, he's about to be hit.
Yeah, I hope he's not on cobblestone, because
if I had to take away 1 star, it would be no reference to ending him rightly with a pommel.
Oh gosh, if I had pulled out MS Gladiatoria, that would be a whole can of worms. Oh my god, that is a weird manuscript. They're all in full plate, head to toe, but they're not wearing gauntlets. They're just barehanded, and you're like, well, you do get a lot more mobility with but I like my fingers too much. No, thank you. I would wear gauntlets. Like, it's so
For
weird.
sure.
And it's the only one like that. So I don't know what.
It's probably an in joke of a group. Maybe, I don't know.
It could have been, or it could have been.
That is funny.
Yeah. Everybody had their preferences. Then it's something to think about, something to look at, and so yeah. Other than that, I give some different like thoughts to think about. Hitting with the flat of the sword, or grappling with the sword, and I give a few short examples of like how you might use that in combat. 1 to 2 sentences. Keep it short, keep it within a turn.
One thing that helps is imagine yourself there, like in the combat, and don't think like above the combat. What would be a cool description? Think, okay, the rules say he parried me, but I still do half damage anyway. What does that look like? Okay, my blade catches his, losing most of the momentum, but it slides along the blade, and then I hit him, or whatever.
Give him a good old poke.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have to read the manuscript from our good old Tyler. Hey,
what's up, Conway?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing great.
I thought your background was real for a second.
No, it is. He's reporting from the trenches. He's achieved 5B.
Yeah, where do you think he got the experience to make his game?
You know what's funny? I just finished my last exam, right? And I'm still dressed the part, and I think it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
So Conway's a contributor as well, and we'll get to his game Trench Punk. Excuse me. But anyway, we've got the anatomy of the sword. Do you want to go through that, or go to the?
Yeah.
So, studied the blade.
Yeah. So I focused on the sword first. I hope in the second one I might follow this trend. I might do something totally different, but I'd like to eventually have like the multiple different aspects of combat out there. So cover different weapons, cover wrestling, cover unarmed striking, because I have a little bit of experience in a lot of things. So that's why I tell people I will not be your best instructor in anything, but I can probably yap at you about, about at least the surface level on a bunch of different stuff. So yeah, covering like, basic anatomy of a sword, not getting into all the weird things like Swiss long swords, but you can delve into that research on your own. But the stuff that pretty much every sword has, not all will have a cross guard, of course, but differences. And I mentioned explicitly there with like blade geometry, every different blade is intended for a different purpose. If you want to look into oak shot typology, there's like 20 different types of one-handed and two-handed sword, vaguely. And most of the difference is how the blade is shaped. Some are better for penetrating armor like chainmail. Some are better for fighting unarmored opponents. All of these different things. It's going to be up to you how much you find value in adding mechanics to that sort of thing versus how clunky that could become. So I kind of left that just, hey, here's another thing to think about. And of course, this could add, it could add something to the character too, or to the setting, right? If people are carrying around big, wide, thin falchions, it tells you armor probably isn't prevalent, right?
Yeah.
Or at least they're not used to fighting it or not planning on fighting armor, right? Whereas if they've got these long, thin, but really stout blades that don't have much flex in them, they're probably expecting to fight somebody in armor.
And this is one of the aspects of the 4D book that I really love so much. It's just pure, unadulterated passion that everyone put into this, right? And Tyler basically lives and breathes this. And it's great to just have like that soapbox moment and put it all to paper. And I think
yeah, for sure.
But while you've got me here as a captive audience, instead of me just rambling about it, did any of you have any questions for me that that the thing itself didn't elucidate?
Well, I haven't read all of it yet, so it may have been in there. So forgive me if I give a question that you already answered. But what is your favorite blade?
Oh, longsword. Just generally, like, no specific typology, but it longsword easily.
All right.
It is the most versatile melee weapon maybe that's out there, and people always say, "What about halberds? What about polearms?" Okay, take it inside somewhere. A longsword is just short enough that you can use one indoors. A halberd, no. Any polearm, once you're getting to that length, you will always have enough sticking out behind you that going around corners, you're going to get caught up on something. You're going to poke your friend that's standing behind you. A window's going out. The dog is running away. And there's a reason that when we read from like period bar brawls, we hear about guys drawing swords. We hear about guys grabbing their swords off the wall or grabbing somebody else's sword and unsheathing it. We don't really hear about guys grabbing halberds that are, propped up against the wall. It's just not it's not practical, because you got to think, like, I mean, pick up a 6-foot 2x4 and try swinging that around inside. It's not really doable. But longswords, they don't do anything the best, but they can work in every single situation. And just like the litany of different ways that you can use a longsword there's a reason they lasted 200 years more or less in active like combat use.
It depends on what you want to call a longsword, right? Because you can trace that back to the Roman spada, in which case it can last more than 1,000 years.
Or the Greek xyphos, two-handed swords that can cut and can thrust. They've been around for thousands of years, if you want to argue that. But I love big crossguard. Probably like Swiss longswords are awesome. I love they solve the only problem that the longsword has, which is the hand protection isn't the best. So
there you go.
I do have a question. I have heard before that swords in the medieval period were kind of akin to policeman pistols, right? Because you see someone with a pistol on the side holster, you already know this person means business. Mm-hmm. Just to a certain extent, how swords were used, right? There was a sign of station that you were a professional soldier to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Would it then be correct to say that a halberd is like a heavy machine gun and a longsword is like a carbine,
Yeah, a little bit. Because swords already were quite heavily regulated in most of Europe, right? It's not, everyone was not walking around with a sword. In fact, it was pretty heavily regulated where you could carry a sword. Lots of people explicitly would join sword fencing guilds so that they had an excuse to carry a sword around. And you still weren't allowed to carry a sword in the church, in government buildings, and in fencing clubs. Now, that one's a little bit odd, but if you think even today, we don't really want people mixing up their sharps and their blunts. That is probably part of it. And two, there was an assumption of, why would you bring a lethal implement into a school with your fellow clubmates? Like, what are you insinuating here? Right? Like, there's kind of that, no, we're going to duel people from other clubs, from other Fechschule, not each other. With each other, we just beat the crap out of each other with the blunt steel, at least in the 1500s, I'm talking here.
Yeah.
But halberds, especially, I mean, that is a thing that it's not practical to carry around on a day-to-day basis, right? It would be like seeing someone open carrying an AR-15, where in many states, like in my state, that's absolutely legal. Even where it's legal, though, you're going to get stopped constantly and just asking, like, dude, what are you doing, man? And then every store you're going into, you're again having to go, like, where do I put this? Anytime you bend over to pick something up off a shelf, it's banging everything. Like, it's just not practical, right? It's not practical. It raises a lot of questions.
Yeah.
That's really funny because I've been thinking about that a lot, whereas before, when I wasn't really like role playing, I'd be playing like D&D and be like, yeah, I have a spear. Just have a spear all the time.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, thinking like playing Mithras and I'm like, okay, where am I putting this spear?
Right, exactly.
How am I carrying this? I'm like, I have to use this hand all the time to carry this thing.
And it's something I was talking with MMCV and a couple of the other guys in Inspiration the other day, where they were like, oh, dual wielding's kind of useless and silly. And I was like, you are automatically dual wielding if you want to carry a spear and anything else. Because the spear has to go in one of your hands, and in all of the we have lots of different texts on guys carrying a spear and a shield, and they have a sword on their belt. And the way that this becomes practical is you pass the spear off to your shield. So you have shield and spear in one hand, and then you have sword in the other hand. Congrats, you're dual wielding. Because where else is the spear going to go unless you just throw it on the ground?
Yeah.
There's also an interesting aspect there, which is the modern day we live in an industrialized society. We put way too little value on your kit, right? Because back in the day, if you're holding a sword, you're holding generational wealth, right?
Yes.
It's like it's like a jet.
Yeah. Well, not quite that expensive. There was a little bit of an overcorrection on how expensive swords were, but not everybody had them at all.
Yeah.
You would immediately be marked as the elite. It maybe more like a really nice watch, like a Cartier or a Rolex, right? Like it's a really, really nice accessory, and we can see that in especially the scabbards that survive, where the scabbard is hugely highly decorated. It doesn't need to be. It serves no purpose other than to show how much of a badass and how rich you are.
Very cool. Pancake, would you like to talk about twisted floorboards with us?
Heck yeah. I played in an ultimate no prep challenge. And I ran the game.
Yeah.
And we did like a liminal space sort of horror game where the building turned your own fears against you. And although we all had fun, I felt like it was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but there's something there. It was so cool. It was almost so cool. And so I just kept thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, I gotta write something down. I gotta figure this out. And that's where twisted floorboards came from. I wanted to, one of the biggest objectives was to give as much agency to players as possible while still having the horror element.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a kind of like a haunted house kind of thing, would you say?
Yeah. My idea is, it's this haunted house that's marred by some tragic event in the past, but it's able to use your own shortcomings against you. The horrors it shows you should be very personal to you.
Oh, that's interesting. Kind of like a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
When I read this the first time, I imagined it more of a liminal space than a haunted house.
Mm.
But I guess they're kind of interchangeable almost.
Yeah, I think you could do either or with this system. Liminal space comes with a few more difficulties in that. Originally, my aim was to make it very liminal, but because liminal spaces, especially like horror-based ones, are very loopy and confusing, it became very difficult to keep everyone to keep the agency of players, because if they have no idea where they are or where that door is going to take them, then they don't really have any choices to make.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to avoid that. So it's more grounded than, you could still do liminal spaces that don't go crazy. But there are specific rules in here where the GM can basically, as the haunt, right? The GM plays the haunt that has inhabited this building. They can change almost whatever they want. They can basically create illusions, what I call manifestations. But they can't move rooms and they can't get rid of doorways, so that players can still kind of navigate throughout.
That's really interesting. Is this the NPC where we're two brothers exploring a mall?
No. That was the one right after, I think.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
You were a player in that one, I think, actually.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, if we want to kind of go through it a bit.
Yeah.
I can answer questions.
So it's like you're going through the house and the haunt is trying to like make these manifestations, and the manifestations can cause you to. They can't physically harm you.
No.
But it's like a trial you have to go through based on your own sins. Each player has a sin.
Yeah. So the idea is that it psychologically assaults you until it can basically break you down into and turn you into like a monster almost.
Driftless.
I call it driftless. I don't know why, but I felt like it's cool when you have these names for all the stats instead of stress level and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I like
That's really cool.
They make sense. They're evocative.
I love how that naturally drives you to a certain universe, because you can really see how maybe there already is a driftless here that lost everything, and now they're bound to this place. There's like this scary other that is within the space, you know?
Yeah. That is in the GM section. It's something about that.
Nice.
One thing I tried to do is, because I have no talent with drawing in the slightest, is I tried to add a bit of flavor with like these text boxes, and I tried to show examples of like, how do you play 4D first of all, and then what does the specific things in this game look like.
That's cool.
Those examples are so helpful, especially with like some might read this and think it's like a more abstract idea. So those really help me understand what this looks like in practice.
Yeah. Especially with how many people are like, oh, it sounds like something we've already been doing, and it's like, no. Here's a specific example. So
please have a 15-second clip.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once we get PDFs able to like play audio clips, that'll be the end times.
The blood loss quote is one of my favorites.
I was just reading that one. I really like that one.
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
Clutching my side, I fall against the vanity. Blood seeps past my hand and drips down to the floor. I start to panic as I see the widening pool below me. Yeah.
That's nice.
That's very cool.
You're a nobler man than me. I think I literally just gave Space Roadie a markdown file. I was like, here you go.
I started trying to fiddle with Affinity, and then I realized I hadn't used it in so long. It's updated to version 3, and I was like, everything's moved and it's scary and it's not working. I don't know, Space Roadie, here you go.
Once again,
that is a sign of outsider art, though. You're just eschewing the usual manner in which something is achieved, right? That's really cool.
Yeah. I really so going through this, something that stood out to me is how playing on the character's pasts and flaws oddly builds itself well towards something we usually are against, which is having a backstory for the character. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the idea is, you kind of need a backstory for a psychological drama.
Yeah.
Which this aims to be, very psychological. We want to explore your character's mental state.
Yeah.
And so I think for this particular use, backstories are pretty important. But I tried to narrow the focus, like what matters about your backstory.
That's very smart.
And the main focus is like, you did something you're guilty about, and this haunted house is going to twist the knife, right?
Almost like a more psychological version of Saw. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I love how right next to each other are two sections that are totally different, right? Like yours is we have something that's almost wholly focused on combat into something that is almost wholly on the psychological side. So that's really cool.
I actually really like the in that sinners portion, the desire, sin, and virtue, because even though they're very specific for this game, I think thinking in those terms can actually be very useful for creating characters in other game systems as well. And I also like the example of like when you say like a desire can be broad or specific, you give a very quick and punchy example of like be loved or I want my next door neighbor to love me.
Yeah.
I think you did a great job with the examples.
Oh yeah.
I think what your character wants is probably the most important question you can answer when you're making a character. That would be desire, no matter what game you're playing. And then the sin and the virtue are a little more specific to this this game.
I remember when I was playing D&D, before I knew how to roleplay, I was doing a haunted house. And there was a room where the players would go into and I'd make them see some kind of vision or something, kind of like this. And I was thinking, I don't know anything about these characters, so I'm going to have to make up a backstory for them on the spot. I hope they're okay with it.
This is why I think Twisted Four Boards is so cool. It's because it creates a hierarchy in the world itself that allows these stories to occur. Because the way you frame it is very different from even other horror RPGs. I mean, think about it for a second. The most popular RPG is D&D. Then you have Pathfinder, but then right below that you have like Call of Cthulhu, which is incredibly popular. And Call of Cthulhu is entirely missing of having a character in the horror, because in Call of Cthulhu you're just expected to be this guy that is specialist on his field dealing with extraplanar entities, right, and being terrified of tentacles.
Yeah.
So it lacks that personal hinge to it, but this is like very front and center, which I really like.
Yeah. I think that kind of comes from the Lovecraftian angle, is because with Call of Cthulhu specifically is, so much Lovecraft is external things attacking you rather than your own issues coming to light.
I don't know. I think one aspect of Lovecraftian horror is figuring out the dark part about yourself, right? Even in Call of Cthulhu, he figures out that he is part of this cult and he's like embroiled in this and he was born into it, right? And usually you're missing that because you're missing a backstory usually in a Call of Cthulhu game, because your character is supposed to die after a bit, right? I love how this is like front and center, and this is also a strength of 4D. You don't need to spend like a day writing a backstory for like 7 pages or whatever. You can come up with it on the spot, and it's so interesting being able to co-create about your character.
I really wanted to make something where I force you to make a character and then I force you to have to worry about losing that character, because I think that is the best way we can get the horror element to the player side, is like, I care about my character. They're such a cool, they're so evocative. I love playing them. I'm really worried that they're going to get taken out here,
That's really cool.
I love games where there's not just the worry of death, but a fate worse than death, becoming driftless. I think that's very cool.
We did kind of skip over the injuries section, which I chose to eschew health points in this game because I want,
I see why.
The more meaningful thing is what it means to be injured rather than tracking the statistical, numbers, which I'm not against health points generally, but for this game, the injury is more important about what it means to your character. I've lost a hand. How does this affect me psychologically? But what is interesting is only other sinners can injure you. And so that's another aspect, is like, this is possibly someone you came here with, you've known before, and now they've like turned on you and attacked you. And I wanted it to be pretty brutal. Like if combat comes up between sinners, somebody's going to get messed up.
Yeah.
Which
that
can
much is
often
evident.
it can often be a big issue in a horror game. Because you're playing like D&D in a more horror setting like Ravenloft, and the evil vampire comes to attack me after a tense scene. then I have 32 hit points. He deals what 9 hit points of damage. Okay.
I
guess I can keep
a little bit. I guess.
So that's really cool. Like not having hit points, it removes it really removes the safe space from the player. There's nothing safe about it. Just in a trick of the script, you can just die instantly. That's really cool.
I really want to inspire players to enjoy, like, the GM might just say, you know, the slasher brings his chainsaw down on your arm, and the player is excited to be like, blood is gushing and I'm rolling on the floor screaming, you know.
It's incredible what happens when you have a high trust game where everyone wants to have the same experience, not just win the encounter, you know.
And how well the mechanics lend themselves towards the tone. That's a great point there, Conway. Is, you know, if you do have the hit points and you just know, even if your character doesn't know, and even if you're trying to be in character, you will always have that feeling of, well, I can take 5 more hits like that, and that feels like an eternity. That feels like, oh, I'm don't have to really worry until 4 turns from now. So,
but that's also why I kept cohesion as a point system, is because I like the idea that it's a slow burn. As you're slowly losing cohesion, you're losing more and more of what it means to be you and stuff. And you know, it can sneak up on you almost like, oh yeah, I took 2 dissonance there, 2 dissonance there, you know, not a big deal, and then it keeps going, and then you're like, oh crap.
It's like, what does it mean to have 2 out of 10 cohesion? It's like, who am I again?
And I can always I can immediately imagine like little situations, like only taking a little bit, maybe being like, I don't remember what my favorite food is. I don't remember what, you know, like little things where it's like creepy but not that big a deal, and then like remember, you know, forgetting familiar faces, forgetting, you know, like that's and I think what part of what adds to the creepiness is that's very real with you know, how we all eventually, you know, most of us will start to lose our memories before we go. It won't be sudden, and that's there's a very creepy real aspect to it.
There's no way you can, if you actually role play this, that it won't be creepy. There's so many like Call of Cthulhu modules where it's like, oh, this is for a beginner, so we make it straightforward. You go down the tunnel, there's a monster at the end of the tunnel, the end. It's not necessarily bad, but like all the time, it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
This succumbing to losing who you are, that's insane. Very cool.
Was it just me? I think I froze out of the thing.
I see you.
Okay.
Everybody
disappeared
go over
for a minute there.
Like the highlights of the haunt. I was reading through that, and it's very interesting mechanically to me. How you're like representing something that can't physically touch you, but is still a very present threat.
Yeah. The haunt. I think of the haunt itself as like almost a force in nature, you know, like a tendency towards driftlessness, dissonance. And what I wanted to do is, because this is such a character-focused game, I wanted to give the GM a character that they can play as well, and that can flavor a lot of the manifestation. So I made the Catalyst, which fits well with like your classic ghost story, you know, the victim of a terrible murder who can't move on to the afterlife, and the haunt is assaulting them just like it is the players, kind of thing, and using the Catalyst to spread driftlessness, dissonance.
I think that this is like Eldritch Horror done right. Because how do you explain an entity that can't really be explained? The haunt is just what it is. It's just a force of nature. I love that, like that description of it. Because how do you explain a tornado, right? I mean, You can try to get into it, but it's a overcomplicated story.
Right.
I love the haunt as like this force of nature, almost like it's not even malignant in a way. It is like a pool. It is a pool of black liquid that you see the darkened version of yourself out of, right? And that's really cool.
I struggled for a long time with manifestations because I wasn't really sure what they should be. And originally, I used to have it so that players could also manifest things. And so we were in this sort of psychic dreamscape sort of thing. And I realized after I did a session with those rules that either I need, because it was very hard to play. And I either needed to go full dream world or more solid, concrete world. And I decided to go a little bit more concrete. So only the haunt can manifest things in it. But I think it actually works because it means that, only this malevolent force has power over the building and what manifests within it.
Mm-hmm. Did you take any inspiration from what was it? Afterlife from Space Roadie that he wrote?
To my deep shame, I have not read Afterlife.
I mean, neither have I, but I watched the actual
Turn off the channel. Turn off the channel.
I watched the actual play. I enjoyed it, but I have not read it.
No, I have not read it.
Okay, no problem. I was thinking about it.
We're all authors, but none of us read.
I actually can't read. Just like everyone else in this hobby.
I dictated this whole book, actually. I don't know how to use a keyboard.
Can I quote you guys on that?
Yeah, we are all of us are contributing to the 6th grade literacy rate in this country.
Exactly.
There's a lot of cross-pollination for these spaces, but we don't really, it's all through voice channels and videos, pretty much.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that as a representation, unless someone has any questions.
I think I already asked mine. Super cool.
I'm looking forward to playing it one of these days.
Yeah. That should be our trademark. I'll read it eventually. I'll get around to playing that.
Getting around to playing is the hard part.
I do eventually want to get to play all of these, and this is the one that I want to play. But there's another one that's like coming up that's really fun, and I want to do this one second after that one.
Okay. I know Uriah, and also I had mentioned this before, but no one answered. But anyway, the idea of having like a stream where we play all of them in just one day would be so cool.
That'd be really sweet.
I would be so down for that.
Oh, in one day. Wow, there's 14. You need like 30 minutes for each, and it would still be massive.
Yeah,
I think it would have to be multiple.
It would be like 4 days. Yeah,
like a weekend at least.
Yeah, and you don't have to play every game. You have people signing up for each one.
Yeah.
It would be cool if we did the you can't run the game you wrote. You have to play the game that you have to play the game that someone else wrote. You have to run it, because then you can see like other people's interpretation of this. Because the way I looked at Twisted Floorboards, I think I took it more like my direction, right? And that's just normal. Whenever you read something, you interface it with other interesting aspects that you already have in your head, right?
Yeah, that was kind of a goal of mine, was to be evocative while giving a lot of space. Like, your haunt is your haunt, and mine might be a bit different.
That's really cool.
So next is one that I might be the most excited for this one, but I need to keep reading. We'll see. This is Trench Punk by Conway. Go ahead and take this away, Conway. Tell us about your game.
Right. So Trench Punk is an interesting concept, in my opinion, that I've been developing after an NPC as well, much like a Pancake. And this was like one of the earlier NPCs. It was really cool back when we were using Easy D6. And and it's a concept that never quite left my head. And I would talk to the players that were there, and they also like kept thinking about Trench Punk. I remember Nicholas drew his character after the game, and Uriah was already like thinking about it. That was really cool. I loved Trench Punk. Absolutely fun concept. And the session was really great, so I knew I had to do something with it afterwards. I wanted to in a way write a little bit about the setting that we came up with on the spot. And I think that shows you the strength of the NPC, right? A lot of things that you never would have done can be done through NPC.
That's at least 2 whole games that came from it so far.
Yeah. I think it's good because you can never do it as well as you want to do it, so it forces you to think about it later.
Yeah, and it gives you a deadline because we're playing today, right? I don't think Trench Punk would have Trench Punk the article would have manifested put it out for a deadline either, right?
Right.
But okay. So let's talk Trench Punk. I think that the shorthand I came up with is Conan but with trenches. I just didn't put it there because Conan is not yet in the public domain, right?
Right.
So
more years. Yeah.
yeah. So I have been much like you, Pancake. I'm completely useless when it comes to art, but I've been lucky because Trench Punk. I mean, no one from the first war is alive anymore, and everything has fallen into public domain, so I can just use it a lot of this art here, and you can really see the like aesthetic that I've been trying to build with Trench Punk. I am a little bit of a hypocrite because I tend to dislike projects that rely on aesthetic, but I do think that Trench Punk relies on aesthetic, unfortunately.
It helps it a lot.
It helps it a lot, yeah. Now, I'm not an artist. I did some doodle drawings in the corner, like the margins of the pages here. Sort of like the kind of things that you would do as a kid with like your textbook. And I really think that passes the setting rather well because, that's what I imagine an educated soldier would do in the universe of Trench Punk.
Well, you don't even have to imagine it. Like that was the first thing that stood out to me is I was like, that's trench art. Like you can see artwork like that. Like if Kilroy was here, that is a doodle. It's on everything, and that comes from soldiers. No one's sure of the exact origin, but it's trench art. So I
would have loved to put actual trench art in Trench Punk because it's one of the things I googled around. There's some beautiful artworks where like it's a spent artillery shell, and like they painstakingly done little divots on it until it like shows across. It's like the most beautiful thing. I wish I could have put it in the book, but I couldn't find like period photography of it. That would be public domain, right? So the concept of Trench Punk is that the First World War just never ended, and people have been stagnant in their trenches for hundreds of years. No one even knows anymore. And it just evolved into tribal warfare. And this is the aspect that we really narrowed in on in that NPC that we played. It is the idea that you are soldiers, you're descendants of soldiers, but you are like so far gone and society has devolved into post-apocalyptic nonsense that it's more like you are like a tribal living in an island while true other island nations fight, right? So imagine being in the jungle. There's like two modern industrial age armies fighting and they're just stuck between the two of them. That's what Trench Punk is. And if you go up one page, you can see like the factions that I wrote. So you have like the trenchmen, which are the actual people that live in the few remaining trenches, but you also have the nomads and the others. The others are like the other people from the other side of the trench that speak a different language. Long ago, all books in their language were burned and everyone that spoke it were hanged, most likely. So you no longer are even able to speak to your enemy, which is interesting. But you actually, in Trench Punk, you don't even spend your time fighting them. Trench Punk is spent fighting your fellow trenchmen, people that were once allies of you, right? Because Trench Punk is, like I said, Conan. It is almost pseudo-tribal / medieval, wherein like you become a warrior king by uniting all trenches like under one banner and becoming like a faction leader. And this is one of the things that I wanted to do with Trench Punk, because the First World War is remembered as a great tragedy, and of course it was. But there's also like every single person that, like, if you read what they thought of what the war would be, like they spoke of glory. And you can see like this is an anti-war propaganda poster that I put in my document. And you can really see there how there is like this almost like this melancholic like separation of like the glory that you can get in war and like all the carnage that it brings. That is one of the themes that I wanted to bring, that maybe is there glory in war, right? Because I don't think anyone would badmouth the great heroes in war, right? People that save other people. That is another aspect that is really interesting to look at in Trenchpunk. I will stop monologuing now. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I was enjoying listening.
yeah. No, it's really fascinating to hear from the thoughts of the author, but also, all of it's something that really stood out to me from. There's a great documentary done years ago, "They Shall Not Grow Old," which was done in 2017, I think, on the 100th anniversary, or 2018 maybe, 100th anniversary of the armistice. And it was done with the last surviving members, and some of them were looking back on it on like, damn it, the war ended, like it, but not in in almost the way of, we didn't get to accomplish anything. Like, that was the tragedy, not that the war happened in the first place, but that it ended before really anything useful came out of it. And it was interesting to see such a different perspective on it, where it was like, what, we did all that for nothing? Like, I wanted to go out there and actually, take names and kick ass and, have something to show for it. Like, that was the tragedy, not the killing, the great slaughter in the first place. So yeah, that was really fascinating.
There is a lot of like war bad symbolism in Trenchpunk, right? But I didn't want it to be the only drowning voice there, because war bad, and the conversation ends there, right? What about like the heroic moments that it can have in war? Those exist as well, and I think that we should perhaps not glorify, but definitely take those into account.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes for some great characters to play.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
If you've got one guy that wants to get in there, all guns blazing, and then the guy that's like, man, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have to be.
I desperately want to get my head blown off charging across.
Yes.
The male urge.
On horseback with a lance. There's a phenomenal period image of a horse in a gas mask made for horses, and a guy on horseback. He's in gas mask with a lance and a bag full of grenades, and you're like, this is one, horrifying. Two, what an interesting period of like technological development, where we're still seeing like medieval light cavalry charges, but also cannons and machine gun nest techniques that would be used to the modern day.
It's got to be the most metal period in history.
Definitely, yeah.
Ooh, I tried to sneak a remembrance poppy in my document, but I didn't find any from the period either, unfortunately. I would have loved to have done so.
Yeah, commemoration. Respect to the Australians and all of the other minor nations that are so easily forgotten about for their part in both great wars.
That's one of the things I did in this document, is that I didn't even say where you're from, right?
Yeah.
There is no, you're an old British regiment. Oh, no, you're an old German regiment. No.
That's so cool.
You don't really even know who you are. It's not specified.
Yeah.
Like,
you're just from the trench you're born into.
Yeah.
Those are gone.
Yeah.
And it's even stated that it doesn't even matter anymore if you're from the Rhine or if you're from the cliffs of Dover, right? Those are old concepts. They don't exist anymore. Nations don't exist anymore. It's all part of tribe and trench, right?
I'm immediately thinking of like tribes falling into like naming conventions of like, oh, those are the 30 cals, because that's the ammo there that's interchangeable with their rifles. Over there, that's the 8 mils. That's they don't even think about uniform, maybe mismatched uniforms, and like, oh, the uniform doesn't matter. What rifle do you use? What ammo does it take?
Yeah,
I love the factions in here. You got the trenchmen, nomads, the mudmen. Those are super cool.
Yeah.
I like how it's like the mudmen aren't even people anymore, or at least they aren't seen that way.
The mudmen are described as undesirables. They're kind of like the lowest caste, because they don't even have trenches anymore. And the way I described it is, not having a trench is not having honor, because the trench is like and I borrowed from the Greeks here, where like having your city state, having your state, your patria, which is where your fathers lived, it gives you honor, right? And it's the same idea with the Mudmen. The Mudmen, they don't have a trench anymore, so they don't have honor. They're tribals that don't have a trench, and because of this, they're caked in mud always, which is pretty interesting. One of the things that I really wanted to do is I wanted to specify like how we would roleplay in the setting. So like right back in that page with the nomads and everything else, it tells you like how do you actually roleplay a trenchman. It's like it's a whole role-playing a trenchman, right? So that is what this book like narrows in on, right? And I really think that helps you like get your mind on it, even if it's just like a few different points that you want to explore, and that's really cool.
These are really good.
So, I know when I was reading it, I was picturing like this tight-knit group of soldiers who mostly fight for each other rather than whatever the heck they're being ordered to do or whatever, you know. And like I could see this being a great setting to explore personal relationships between the different characters. Of like, would I jump on a grenade for that guy? You know.
Yeah, that is kind of what it devolved into, right? And that's really interesting. Because you have your captain of your unit, but a captain is not really like a military rank anymore. It's an inherited title, kind of like a feudal lord, right? He's a captain.
That's so cool.
He's a captain.
Yeah.
And I like this idea of like it becoming inherited, because then like it's like I said, a lot of it has to do with honor. So building on the honor of your ancestors is really interesting in that aspect.
It almost becomes religious in a way. Like there's just a deep respect for honor and people above you and things. And I also like how like it seems like anyone else out there is like unknown and alien, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're just called the others. Like no other word for it.
Yeah.
Then you also have the nomads, which are pretty weird, because the nomads are like they speak your language, but they're not part of you. They're called nomads because they actually have supply lines and logistics and horses and trucks, because they're the people who actually still are quote unquote the still surviving nation, right? And they just treat you as savages, like, because to a certain extent you're getting in the way of them fighting a war.
Right, we're having a war over here, man. Like that's the logistics thing is so interesting to me, because it makes me immediately go like, man, I want to go track down the people who are still working in the oil fields. I want to like, who is supplying all of this, right? Because there's got to be an ammo factory somewhere. There's got to be.
Yeah, my mind went immediately to like, you know, you have the nomads, but are they? How much of this war is actually still happening?
Right? Is there like secret society behind the lines that's like, oh, thank God, they're still willing to fight, and in fact, they've forgotten all about us under the table. I love
This is like Conan in more ways than one, because if you go to the page with the weapons, right, like you see the weapon price. Oh, okay. The currency in this is brass, like spent brass cases.
Yeah, spent brass.
That's not something you can easily make, right? But if you go to the costs of these weapons, like in the list below, right, you will start seeing weapons started being cost like brass, slaves, and then like you go read the document and you realize that the nomads, they're only really interested with the trenchmen to basically buy slaves off of them to work in industrial cities, right? So like it's all like tied into the world, which I think is pretty interesting. Which is like so cruel. Like these guys are like the the industrial part of society, and like they're the most.
I really like that little bit you put in when talking about how the nomads buy slaves, where they're not interested in the others as slaves, and so you're forced to sell your own brethren into slavery if you want the awesome tech from the nomads.
Yeah. Especially thinking about like the immediately grim connotations of like, well, Jim got his leg blown off by a grenade. He's not really any use in fighting anymore. We'll trade him for a machine gun. Like, that's so dark.
Woo.
But yeah, it is a really
heavy.
Setting.
Yeah.
I did also like that you included diseases, which are very, very like evocative of the theme of fighting in the trenches.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where are they?
They're at right before the Das Landscheid.
It included.
Oh,
Yeah,
trench foot, fever, cholera, influenza, infection.
All of these are deadly. This is a very deadly game. In Rhodey's system, you can't dodge bullets, and the bullets pack a punch in this, right? And this is based on a thing that very few people do in RPGs well, in my opinion, which is roleplay firearms. Firearms are scary. They're the scariest thing. Right? They make this loud noise, and someone drops dead. It's like the scariest thing. Like just in normal war, they're already really scary. But imagine how that you're a tribal, right? One of the classes in this, the sharpshooter, his whole thing is that he gets to shoot he gets to do the ceremony of shooting around every week or so to like to ward off evil spirits. So like he's the guy that actually knows how to shoot, right? And that's how like firing around is seen in Trenchpunk. I have like if you read I have a sideline telling you like how to roleplay weapons. What like each faction would do, right? So like Mudmen will scatter if they hear a round. They'll just scatter, run away, right? Because if you shoot around, you mean business. You're well equipped. If you have like, if you like pick everything right in your character creation, you might start with like 1d6 rounds, right? So it's like you have very little ammunition, and have like a little sideline what each faction would do if they hear a round, right? So I have like the Mudmen, like they scatter. The Nomads, it says that the Nomads can't bear to lose any men, so they'll just like drive away and call artillery on your position, right? Like each faction has like their own thing that they do if they get shot at, which is I think pretty interesting. And so cool. in the little adventure I made for this, there's also like specify what happens if they hear a round. I want weapons to feel like weapons when you fire them.
I was going to ask about the adventure. So it's fairly short, like 3 pages, and I noticed at the very end there's the little scrawled out like arrows pointing to different things. Is that for the GM just to like actually use as like a mental map of the scenario, or is it just decoration?
No, it is a little bit like a mental map, and the like the scrolled notes like in between the actual document, they really help you like keep things in mind, right? Because you'll see like Moiled. Okay, so they go from the vampires to Moiled. Like what's Moiled? And then like you look and there's like a little scrolled like Moiled thing right there, right? So like you can go right to where you want to see it. And I think it helps you keep a mental image of like how the adventure goes. It's not a very complex adventure at all, like just 3 pages. And most of this is telling you what each character wants out of a scene, right? So I don't just like tell you, oh, there's a Mudman attack. I don't just tell you, oh, 3 Mudmen show up, right? I tell you what the Mudmen want, how they would react if they're shot at, like how they will try to get what they want, right? And Moiled is a character that I wrote into this, and he's a pretty cool character. Like if you read his little section, because he's not really an ally, he's not really an enemy of the players. It's pretty interesting. At least I would like to think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And
I enjoyed what I read of it. I was skimming it.
I think that it's good to have like a solid example of like how this is how you would structure an adventure like in this setting, right? I think that helps you quite a bit. It can really feel vague if you just read it, but like if it all comes together later on, it helps, I think.
Yeah. Also, it helps to give like some of what the author's intention was, right? Because it can be easy to get all the different pieces and then come up with something totally different, which is cool, but also can give somebody the wrong idea.
Text really supports the setting. Like if you read this, you know what you're getting into. And so you had like 13 pages, and the text I think is kind of small, so it's got a lot in it packed in there.
Yeah,
I would hope so.
Yeah, you got everything. You got the factions, the diseases, all of it. I liked how the attitude of the trenchmen towards the nomads is that they're cowards. You know, if they're shot at, they retreat and they order a artillery battery on you. It sounds like, tribal warfare describing us, like modern warfare.
Yeah, it's dishonorable, right? Yeah, and I think I remember reading a Zulu opinion, like the British soldiers, right? and they believed that the British soldiers were individually courageous, but their officers were cowards that didn't want battle, right?
Yeah,
which is
their
interesting.
tactics. Well, and the Zulu were particularly interesting because even among the other African tribes, they used a very short spear to force their troops to get in close because they notice when you have a big long spear, well, nobody's really that into it. They're not, they're just sort of poking each other from 10 feet away, and it's like, oh no, come on, man, come on, get in there and kill each other for real, like. So they had
it's interesting how the Zulus develop like bull and horns, and it's almost like the Roman formation of like
very similar,
aggressive
but like
infantry pushing.
2,000 years separated.
Yeah.
So the bull is like the main force, and the horns are like the pincers coming around.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Very cool. We got Lapel du Vide, I think is how you say that.
Yeah, not bad French pronunciation.
That's pretty good for a Texas boy.
Yeah. That was look. Okay. We won't go into this one, but
I wish we had Dom here to go into it because it looks really interesting.
Look at that tagline:
Definitely.
delivering the Holy Grail to the end of the universe. I need to read that.
Yeah.
I like the art from Zone Noir here.
Yes, it's a really cool one.
Yeah.
That one, these black and white art in here, that's especially reminds me of Dragon Magazine back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love Moe's piece of art there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the modifications to the character creation in this game, but I need to read more of it. So it's a real shame that we don't have Dom on here to really go in depth on it like we've gone into the other ones.
Hey, second stream.
Second stream.
Keep talking about it.
I'm down. All right. Dunks and crossovers.
Yeah, so I wrote this one. I don't know what anyone else was thinking when they were trying to make anything for this mixtape, but I thought very selfishly, there's no basketball RPGs.
Hell yeah.
There needs to be a basketball RPG.
When I was talking that there was another game that I wanted to try besides Pancakes, this is the one. It's weird. I've never thought of a basketball RPG, and I know nothing about basketball. I want to see how
I was about to say, is basketball popular in Brazil? Because I feel like it's a very American sport.
Nope, it's not popular at all, which is why I want to see, man.
Cool.
Right? Hey, we have a Brazilian head coach in the playoffs right now. So
that is true.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I stole this quote from a basketball YouTuber, Clayton Crowley. He has a series about the greatest of all time and who that could be. I thought it was perfect to just kind of set the tone for this game. This game is mostly focused on the mechanics of not necessarily the rules of basketball, but supporting basketball play in an RPG, because so many RPGs are focused on combat or for whatever reason social combat, or there's like dating RPGs for some reason. But I wanted to try and keep it simple enough where people who have no idea the actual rules of basketball could figure it out. So they don't need to know the rules. Yeah. They just need to see these skills and be like, okay, I can see how I can kind of put these skills together and play a game. If you actually want to scroll down to the skills section, I added, just to keep it simple, the exact same amount of skills as there are in the base game, but you actually use the base game skills and the basketball skills. Just depends on if you're in a basketball game or not. And it was really difficult. I went back and forth with Space Roadie a couple times trying to figure out what are the most important skills to have in a basketball game. I actually consulted the 2K game, all their skills.
Oh, that's clever.
And they have so many skills because it's a video game and it's doing all the calculations for you.
Right.
But I think most people think of shooting the balls. There's multiple shooting skills, but we could not forget the trash talk skill, the all important
You got to be able to make Larry Bird. Like,
exactly. And so we put all these in here, and I left it very loose in terms of I didn't want to make Pathfinder the basketball game. No offense.
No, I don't think it would work.
No. So I gave some examples of some interactions between skills, but it very much is like you just describe what your character is doing.
Right.
And in the moment, we'll figure out, okay, what skills are going to be rolled? Are skills going to be rolled at all? And you go to the, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sorry, I'm interrupting, but I think that works super well for a game like basketball where that literally is part of the game is ref's discretion. Is a ref going to call that a foul at all? Are they going to call it a flagrant foul or, yeah. So
the actually that brings up another point is I was trying to figure out how is like a turn order supposed to work in a basketball game?
Right.
Because like obviously in like our kind of RPG world, we just all kind of accept things like either initiative or at least like, okay, one person goes and another person goes, right? But in a basketball game, even though it's the same as in combat where everything's happening at the same time, in the basketball game, everyone's also focused on one thing, the ball, right? And so it's very interesting. I kind of left it up to people's discretion just to be like, okay, describe how you're doing it. I mixed up the skills so that there's off-ball skills as well as on-ball skills. And I was never really sure the best way to run a whole basketball game, which is why I put a couple options in here.
Nice.
So you either play to score like 21, you can simulate a quarter, or you can set a timer. And I'm actually really interested to play all three of these different methods. I think that as a game master, if I'm running something, I would actually use different methods for different situations.
Ooh, a real life timer is really cool. That's really evocative of like basketball stuff. And it hammers on the idea that you're playing in real time if you're playing 4D.
I'd probably do something like a minute timer per shot clock.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, I was like, man, and you could even have the coach in the corners calling time and do it in real time.
Something I really like about it is it's so normal for us to have combat rules and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Even though none of us, Flame Zombie excluded, know anything about how combat works or the rules of engagement, right? The rules still work, and I find that a lot of people are like almost like they can't shift that to something like basketball, where like, yeah, I know nothing about basketball, but I read these rules and I really want to play them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm not sure how much of a overlap there is on the Venn diagram of hardcore RPG players and basketball enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that it's easy enough to play for people who are just like vaguely familiar with, oh yeah, I think the ball's orange.
Which would be me, right?
Yeah.
And I love how this is like a genuine old college try at this concept, right? It's not not done for a joke. This is really cool. I really want to see it done.
When you did this, I thought this was so genius because I was like, dude, arguing with the GM is almost diegetic here. I'm just gonna be arguing with the ref. Like, the fuck do you mean that's a flagrant foul? Oh, I just got $10,000 fine by FISA because I dropped an F-bomb. Damn it! It's like, just immediately thinking about all of the stuff where it's like, it almost suits itself turning the beer and pretzels game into a serious game because that's what basketball is. It's taking something that was originally just a fun pastime into something that is serious. Hey, that's exactly what we're trying to do with 4D, so that's so cool.
And actually on this next page is kind of another one of my attempts to make it simple for people to describe where they are on the court without knowing all the names of the court. Like you don't need to know where the baseline is or the elbow or all that stuff. It's like, hey guys, there is 6 sections of this court. Just describe where you're going on it. And they're wide areas, right? So you can visualize where you are in that area. And it doesn't even necessarily matter that everyone is visualizing the exact same part of that area.
Right.
Because I mean, rules and mechanics wise, it's very loose to make it simple enough to focus on the role play and not be like, well, I can move 6 squares so I can make it to the paint, I think. If
Right. Nobody when playing or
that-
watching basketball is thinking that, like, right? No, you're worried about like, oh shit, that guy's a really good ball handler. Can he make it to? You know, I don't know if he can make it to the 2-point line, or if he's gonna have to Hail Mary it, or
yeah, right.
What I remember most of like reading through this is the super critical mechanic you have for jersey number. Like
Oh
if you
yeah.
roll like your
Let's skip to that
jersey.
one. Let's skip to that one. Right
Oh,
at the
yeah.
it's right at the end, actually, I think.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so I was just envisioning, I don't know if any of y'all have seen, we're shrinking the Venn diagram down substantially. But I don't know if any of y'all have watched Kuriko's basketball, the basketball anime. But yeah, they get
I've
into the
seen that.
zone, right? And it's just like everything's working for them. And we all kind of in our own hobbies understand what that's like when you're in a flow, everything's going well. So I just threw that in there. It's like, yeah, if you roll your jersey number, everything's easy.
nice.
And so
That is really cool.
I kind of envision like on the off chance that 2 players both roll their jersey numbers at different parts of the game. Now they're just like going at it.
That
Something
would be very cool.
something that Kuroko no Basket and other sports anime, like Initial D, which is a sports anime. So watch it and come back to me if you haven't. They get that like flow state so well. Like where if you've ever been in a sport and you've been either totally demolishing someone or being totally demolished by someone, that like pause, negative frame feeling of like inner monologue of like, literally nothing I do matters. Like just everything is working or nothing is working. And this guy is just, it's his game right now. Like that feeling is,
right.
Yeah, great.
I had the idea. I was trying to figure out. I was actually talking with Elf Hunter over some chicken wings, trying to figure out are the positions in this game going to work. And I was thinking like, okay, well, if he's taller, then like your shooting would be more difficult, but the dribbling would be easier and all this stuff. And then literally like after like 2 hours of discussing this, I was just like, what if we just make the positions basically classes?
Yeah,
or
that's
careers. So that's how we got to these here. Basically, like these are things that you have to spend some of your skill pyramid in, which you get a whole nother skill pyramid for your basketball skills. So these positions, like okay, a point guard is minimally skilled at dribbling. Like that's just that they have to be. Otherwise, they can't really play the game. The center, he's the big guy, right? He has to be minimally skilled at blocking.
Yeah, because I mean, you wouldn't. Otherwise, how are you a basketball player? Right?
Yeah, right.
That's sort of the player buy-in, right?
And I was working on like how many of those skills should there be that you have to spend them in. I think at one point it was like 7 skills, but I ended up shrinking them down to only 4 to give you more freedom. Because I mean, in the modern NBA, you have massive departures from what like we saw even 10 years ago as what is a shooting guard, what is a point guard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question, Melnick. So that's Mike, right? Yeah. So if you actually back up a couple pages, in obviously we don't always have the correct number of people to be on a basketball game, right? So there is 1v1 rules or character versus character rules where it's like, okay, whoever's at the table, they're playing like one person in the basketball game, right? So you're playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. And I think this is probably, in my opinion, the most fun this game probably gets because everyone's maximally involved all the time. I included these and I put a little disclaimer at the bottom. It's like, guys, these are just examples. None of these are actual like law rules because I'm sure there's so little not only just playtesting for this game, but so little information on like this world of RPG where like there's so many games that have combat. People figure, okay, this works, this doesn't.
Yeah.
But this is a kind of a new thing.
You're really breaking new ground on this.
Yeah,
trying to.
Can't really think of anything other than like maybe a sidebar rules for something like this. Like in some Pathfinder supplements, you'll have like here's a game that the local peoples play, but it's, one paragraph. It's not a whole game.
Yeah, right. It's funny because I can't remember. Maybe it was Space Raid, but I was talking to somebody. It's like I'm basically taking in other games would be okay. You roll an athletics check. You roll an athletics check. We'll see who wins, right?
Right.
Expanding that into a full game.
Yeah.
But this is one way to play the game. But if you go back another page, I believe, yeah. So this is if you're playing a game with, say, you have 3 players at the table and 1 GM. Obviously, I don't want anyone to try to run a 5-on-5 in that scenario. And so I just gave the advice like, okay, look, just forget that basketball is usually 5-on-5. Just play a 3-on-3 game. All right. Imagine that's how the NBA is working at this point, because it just makes it simple that the players can play their individual character while the GM can focus on the other team.
Mhm.
But in order to make it simple for the GM, all the roles except for shooting roles are player facing. So say that Flame Zombie, you're a point guard, Pancake, you're a center, and Conway, you're a shooting guard, right? You're all are on offense. Basically, if you need to make a daring pass, Flame Zombie, you just roll your pass, and if that is a success, it makes it to whoever you pass it to. If it's a fail, then whoever was defending you, or maybe the guy who's defending Pancake, gets their hand on the ball, right? It keeps it simple for the GM, but they have to be describing this. Like if they're describing the players like, just trying to be very conservative on defense, then that failed pass is not going to be, oh, they stole the ball. It's going to be, oh, you didn't catch the pass in stride, so you're not getting like a free layup or something, right?
Gotcha.
Mm.
Okay.
Then the only exception to that being shooting, because I don't want some scrub basketball team that y'all are playing against when y'all are on defense just constantly making shots because you happen to be rolling bad on your defense rolls, right?
Right.
That's one part of the game that it makes more sense to zoom in a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah. Like I could see immediately like another way of doing it, like just immediately zooming in on who's right in front of you, or like whoever's screening you, or who has the ball, and the rest of the team is kind of there, right? You'll see them as you run past them if you've got the ball. They're otherwise they're not in focus right now.
Yeah, the one thing that I did kind of mechanize a little bit more than other things is how like rebounding works. Because right there, that third bullet point is, a missed shot, you roll a d10, because I wanted to make sure you only need to use the d10s in this game. I mean, everyone has d6s, but whatever. So you roll a d10, and that tells you kind of what area of the court that it goes to, and then only the people in that area are going to be like rolling to rebound, right? So hopefully you're in the right spot. But it makes sense because you have to be in the paint most of the time. So good positioning is still important.
Yep.
How well does this lend itself to 4D's wish for everyone to always be in character at all times, right? Because if you're not involved in the current play, you really are just sort of on the sideline. Are you supposed to take a turn when that occurs?
Yeah, so there's no real advice in terms of like how no order or initiative, something like that. But we'll take the example once again, Flame Zombie being the point guard, Pancake being the center, and Conway being the shooting guard. You can discuss maybe outside, maybe in a timeout, right? Or before the game starts, hey guys, these are kind of the plays that we're going to try to do. Or you can run it more freeform, where Flame Zombie saying like, I'm dribbling the ball, waiting for my teammates to get in position. And Pancake's saying like, I'm forcing my way into the paint to catch a rebound. And Conway says, I run to the left 3-point to catch a pass.
Yeah.
Right. And so even though Flame Zombie's the one with the ball, he's waiting for y'all to position yourselves.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a bad, maybe I've got the ball, but I'm a bad ball handler. So I'm just waiting for somebody to screen for me. I'm looking over, I see Conway's not on anybody, and there's a freaking 7-foot tall giant. I'm not running this past him, man. Like,
that's cool.
Would you say everyone declares their action before everyone rolls and gets the outcome of it?
it's really up to the table to figure out what makes sense for them the most. In my head, if I'm trying to run it, since the GM is really mainly almost taking a back seat because they're trying to control multiple players at the same time, I would have everybody kind of declare what they're doing, and the GM would just kind of declare I guess overarching
resolution.
Yeah, or at least an overarching intention for the other team.
I think that's pretty good too, because that's kind of how basketball works too. I mean, you don't really have any teams that know what they're doing. Just like, fuck it, we'll run it. Like that doesn't really happen. You kind of plan out, set everything up, and then once you see your opening, okay, now we'll do something.
Exactly.
Most teams now are running a pretty solid setup first before they try to make something happen.
Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see. The more people play this game, there's sort of a skill to it that's apart from the RPG. And in the description, it's like, okay, well, I am a center and I have a high screen skill, right? But how you're using that is really up to you. Are you screening for the ball handler so the ball handler can get open? Or are you screening, like, is Pancake screening for Flame Zombie? Or is he screening for Conway so Conway can get open so that he can get an open shot
so that I can
from
pass
the pass
to Conway and then
from Flame Zombie, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a deep game.
Yeah.
Mainly because basketball itself is pretty complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I already love like how in just this short example we've got so much movement going on and so many, already got decisions to make and people to get pissed at you afterwards where it's like, why did you shoot, man? You should have just passed to Conway. He was wide open and you hear the newsreels the next day.
For sure. Oh, that is one other thing. If you scroll to the setting page, so I did want to make it abundantly clear to anyone reading this game that this is not just you play basketball, you show up and you play basketball.
Yeah.
Other than the professional setting, every single one of these settings has off the court things that you should use the basic rules for and figure that out. I give a couple ideas, almost like I guess sort of scenario seeds. My preferred one would be either school or street. I feel like those are the most
That's immediately what I was thinking.
Easy to kind of go to, but the whole core rules of this whole mixtape they're very strong rules. They're very robust, and so I just completely left them where they were to allow you to sort of like focus in on stuff happening off the court with that, and then with the stuff in this game, you can focus on the court stuff.
Yeah, think of a sports movie. You've got
right.
off the court stuff. You got emotional scenes. It's like you walk into the gym at midnight, someone's already there. I'm working through some stuff, man.
Yeah.
Or,
oh, that's cool.
There's all kinds of drama going on with your family or your school or something.
Yeah, I immediately think in college ball, like you could have your best player on the team that's just he's straight D's, and it's like, bro, we gotta fix something here. Like
exactly. As I think most people understand, in any hobby they're in, or even in your job, even though it may be the same mechanical things that are happening, the surrounding situation is what can lend more and more weight to whatever's happening, right?
Yeah.
If I'm playing a basketball game where it's like, it's just a basketball game for fun, ha ha ha. I mean that's fine. But if you're playing a basketball game where there's a college recruiter here, I need to try and wow them,
right?
Or maybe it's like
I'm playing against the guy who stole my girl.
Exactly, right?
Show him up.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I think you wrote somewhere, you were like, what? A game with no combat?
Well, that's in the playing basketball
technically, those rules are still there.
If you want to just punch a guy on the middle of the court.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it might be like, okay, whoever our worst player is, you're just going to take that flagrant foul and just elbow him as hard as you can. Like that happens. We've seen it happen before.
There you go. And one thing I did make sure to also call out was that you don't need to know the rules, like the specific rules of basketball.
Yeah.
Like most people kind of know like out of bounds, and they kind of understand, there's something about you have to dribble the ball, right?
Yeah.
But you can use those as like descriptive things. Like say you fail a pass.
Yeah.
That pass can go out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe the guy he doesn't catch it correctly, ends up traveling.
Yeah.
Lots of things that you don't need to be worried about in terms of actual rules in the role-playing game that can be used for description.
Yeah. And of course, refs miss stuff intentionally or otherwise.
You don't gotta tell me that.
Some of the traveling recently has been egregious, man.
Don't worry, Flame Zombie. I slipped the ref $1,000.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude.
That's part of the role playing off the court. Just slip the ref a couple 20s. Suddenly, all of your defense roles become easy.
Maybe I can take a few steps.
Bro, I still remember raging at Joe Crawford's calls from like the championships in like 03 or 07 or something.
Bro.
The Spurs versus Heat games.
They have had it. I'm going to talk ball only briefly here because they have had it out for SGA. Like, oh my god, talking about foul baiting. Oh my bro.
Win the game, save the clubhouse. Exactly, Mike.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm already thinking of like, man, doing street level, having like maybe a gang subplot, like the
That's
Warriors,
what I was thinking immediately.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, you come to basketball the next day and it's like, what the hell, man? You've got one arm in a sling and it's like, bro, what happened? It's like, I've been playing a little too good. They paid me a visit last night.
I'm thinking a bit less realistic. It's like, guys, we need to stop the gang war. We have to settle it with a game of basketball.
Yeah.
Everyone shakes hands after.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, dang it. If only I shot just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Now right. He has the chop shop.
We will stop selling drugs.
Cops versus gangsters.
Oh man, I love that kind of like silly stuff that can happen. There's like 80s.
The kind of movies they don't make anymore, right?
Yeah.
Did I? Okay, I didn't put it in.
Real quick, sorry. I was gonna say you could do that setup where the Mormons come over to your house and say, if we win, you guys come to church with us, and the other guys are like, if we win, you guys come drinking with us.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. And I love how like some people might like think that this is weird, but like look at how much like depth you can bring to something with that concept. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like an actual basketball RPG. No funny business. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a real college try.
Yeah.
Think about video games. You have people who literally they don't care about video games. They play gun and ball games,
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, we have the gun games. We need the ball game.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can really see how varied the 4D mixtape is, right? I love the concept of a mixtape. We didn't even need to try that hard to make everything varied and interesting to play.
Right.
Yeah, maybe in the B side for the next mixtape, I'll put in a scenario.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
This gave me, I just wanted to say, not really a question, but this just gave me so much idea for my own game that I've been working on, which is kind of a fantasy MMA fighter thing going on where it's going to have a focus on one-on-one, obviously, but the rest of the player characters will obviously either be their own fighters and have their own day, or be, the cut man, the corner man, the coach, the people that are taking active roles in a one-on-one fight, but things that a lot of people don't think about, in MMA fights. They're not really paying attention to what the cut man's doing, what the corner's calling out, because the corner's usually not mic'd up for one thing. But
that'd be sick.
Yeah.
I think what this shows,
RPGs.
Yeah.
What this shows is that it's unfortunate that RPGs most prevalent like consumer are a bunch of sweaty nerds, because there's some really cool untapped potential here.
Well, now they can be sweaty nerds playing basketball.
Yes, sweat for a reason, guys. Don't be sweaty because you haven't showered in 4 days.
We could even go outside and play for real, perhaps.
Amazing.
That might be a step too far.
Yeah.
That's so larp at
Hold
that
on.
point. Come on.
Yeah.
Can we include a page that just has fake grass in it on the print version of the
Like
game?
Earth, yeah.
If you don't want to go outside, just think of Mr. Max judging
Yeah,
you.
yeah, just
He's like, come on, you need to go on a run.
That is the funniest
Like,
Mr. Max impression I've heard in my life.
I can never do his voice.
I can't do the French Canadian accent.
So there's still what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games or scenarios after
we're only
this.
like
We-
halfway through. Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of us are the authors of those, I don't think, and so we'll just have to hit the high points.
Yeah.
Or the opening.
Yeah, credits for funniest title and concept go to.
I love Door the Opening because it's partly a joke, but also like really actually good advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's kind of a case study in the inverse of okay, if you try to play this way, it will be really hard to stay in character without laughing or just like getting frustrated with it, one or the other, because that's the point, right? It's
definitely tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it's great. I had a friend that's outside of the 4D space look at it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't had a player try to, roll to seduce a door at this point." Like, so I think even people outside the outside our space of the hobby are like, "Duh, yes, everyone's been here."
You may already be playing it.
Yes, the tagline's fantastic.
It's the perfect length as well, Mike. It's not too many pages, and the explanation is excellent. I love the explanation.
Yep.
And the art at the end. It's so funny to me.
What is this? What is this? These guys. Let me in. Let me in. So funny. And we won't really go over these, but there's Underground. What else we got? Oh, my mouse wheel's all jacked up.
Underground is really cool.
Wolfsbane.
Oh, Wolfsbane, hell yeah.
Yeah.
A wolf game, but good.
Yeah.
Look at this art.
The art is amazing in that one, yeah.
I love that piece. That one's so good.
Yeah, Trollben's Fear is pretty sick.
Oh,
is it Fear or Fire?
That one I haven't read yet.
Yeah, I need to get there.
I did want to call out A Feudal Gauntlet is sick because it's like it's in that, I guess, prototypical RPG frame where it's like, it's feudal and like medieval and stuff, but it's not focused on combat at all. It's pretty cool.
Which is really cool, right? You already have your designated preferred D20 fantasy simulation game, right? Then now you can look at these two very different articles that are in the 4D mixtape, and you can apply them to your own games, which I think is really cool. I don't think we're making a D&D killer here, guys.
No, that's not the goal.
But this is so cool. Just have a look at this page. This is so amazing. This is one of the things I tried to achieve with Trenchpunk, which is have actual characters want actual things and have basic bullet points, like how they're going to try to achieve their things. Right? The game master is also role playing. They need to know what these characters want.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good page.
Ooh, look at Space Roadie's comment. That's a real good pitch for Wolfsbane. It says, in Wolfsbane, you struggle against the curse of lycanthropy, which drives you to madness and murder. It is a set of rules for simulating the reality of being a werewolf. That's really sick.
That's so cool.
I want to play all these games, man.
For sure.
They're all so
sure.
If we do a stream where everyone plays all these games, I think we need to do another one on 4D Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
There's one that's really cool that's coming up that I really love the aesthetic of. After Feudal Gauntlet. Oh, this one I want to know more about.
Yeah,
I've talked to Spawner a lot, but I don't think I've gotten to reading his game yet.
Yeah.
What is this?
It reminds me a lot of the screw tape letters.
Really?
From oh gosh, what's his name? The guy who wrote The Chronicles of Narnia.
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis, yeah. I love the idea behind this one.
Yeah, I skimmed over it and I really enjoyed the idea. It's very similar to how Paizo portrays devils, where you have like contract devils, and it's all very like it's middle management. Middle management is hell, basically, and like that's fantastic.
What's the difference?
Yeah, right.
Who did this artwork? It is so cool. Is it the Spawner who did it, or
Kerr, I believe.
Kerr did do this. So cool. I love it.
Is awesome.
He's great.
Yeah, that cover is really nice.
So many good artists in our Exit 37. This one's also by Space Roadie. It's a horror, like a modern day horror scenario. Doesn't need any special rules, just a few pages.
Has the basic rules at the front. It's perfect. This one kind of, I mean, it's not really that similar, but it reminded me kind of the game that you ran with Bacon and Uriah.
Yeah. We were kind of thinking of these ideas around the same time, I think.
The game I ran with Bacon and Uriah?
No, the one Elf Hunter ran.
It was what do you call it? Into the Dark, Cabin 12.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which was the one you ran, Conway?
I also ran a game with Bacon, Uriah, and Chris. It was an NPC. It was also horror. It's interesting.
It's interesting how staying in character makes a genre that is generally not, if that falls flat, it just puts new life into it.
Yeah.
And it really goes to show like how many lives you get to live just with role-playing games, right? Like you get the vicariously experience like so many cool and interesting concepts with just like your mind. And I think that this book is a great primer for that specifically.
I hope this book helps people see that you can do so much more with role-playing than what people generally do, you know. Like it's so much more diverse and interesting than the average game you join.
I think I'll play a wizard this time instead of a fighter.
This time my fighter will hold a spear.
Have you thought of a high elf wizard?
No. I'm not going to think about how he's going to hold the spear, but he's going to have one.
I prefer Thorthuth.
Yeah.
40 years later, I wonder what the big bad's gonna be this time.
Bro, can you not get your Cheetos on my copy of AD&D? It's an original printing,
bro.
But back to Exit 37. I don't know why, but I love running. I've done horror scenarios in cabins like multiple times, especially with snow outside. I don't know why. It's just so good. Good setting.
Well, and it has like the connotation of like you can't run forever. You know, there's danger outside too. So that like that general theme of like being boxed in, it's a good one. And you can reskin it in a million different ways, and you know, have a million different experiences.
Here it is, prime time. This is the one.
Man,
yeah.
Let me tell you about prime time. It is a blast.
It really was
cool.
Well, I played it with Pancake, and G-Funk was GMing. It was so fun. It's like what was is it Running Man? Was that the movie?
Yeah.
It's like Running Man or Hunger Games or the video game, The Finals, kind of like that.
Battle Royale.
That kind of thing. Super cool. We were inside a mall, killing each other. There were zombies. I was on a motorcycle. I was like, okay, I'm going to go over the ramp and drive next to these guys, and Pancake sitting behind me with like an axe or something. I'm like, you hit him while I drive past him. You know.
One thing G-Funk did in that game, which was so cool, is he named the weapons. And so I was wielding the Annihilator, a katana from like a mall katana, you know.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Yeah, it's just such a cool concept and so full of potential.
The guns,
and baked into it, the mechanics are like you have to do cool things and like brave things or brutal things because there's these camera bots floating around watching you the whole time. And so I'm purposefully being like more brutal, getting blood on the camera lens so that my ratings go up and my
You're trying to get sponsors.
They give you more equipment, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're playing a character that's like struggling, doesn't want to be there, you know, you're not going to get as much equipment from your sponsors. If you do something that's not brave, like try to hide somewhere, the robot, the little drones come out and like zap you.
Yeah.
So into the middle.
It's really cool. He has this mechanic called Fame, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think it's called Fame. And what was really funny is I was playing like a very timid, scared character who didn't want to hurt people. Whereas Elf Hunter's character was like getting in there, freaking slashing people apart. And I think we ended and he had like 4 times the amount of fame as I did.
There's a D10 table for songs, by the way. That is when I knew I was gonna like it. It goes from 9. It goes from 9-inch nails to Bruno Mars.
Amazing.
Oh man,
that is one thing I love about like modern or future settings is being able to
get to this.
Have diegetic music.
I think that Primetime is another one of these that one and Trench Punk to me are some of the like most dense and like bang for your buck entries in this whole mixtape. They're so sick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But what's this? It seems like the book didn't end.
Oh no, there's a secret edition.
Yes.
Nobody look. Actually, it's declassified, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It is declassified, yeah.
So under direction of the director of 4D RPG services.
I actually did read all of this one. It is perfect advice on how to sabotage even the best tables.
Yeah.
There will be no roleplay. Oh, excuse me. There will be no fun. There will be absolutely no enjoyment. We will make sure of it.
Yeah. Well, there will be lots of fun. Your players will say, I had fun.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
It was great. And then they'll just mysteriously stop showing up.
Yeah, they'll have scheduling issues.
Yeah.
Scheduling issues.
Oh, man, it just didn't work. You know, I actually moved.
You see him in the supermarket the next day, like, oh, hey, man.
This is another one that's similar to Door the Opening. That's just short and sweet, disguised advice in an entertaining package.
Yeah. So
really
if you go to the first page, this is the roleplay field sabotage manual. It's actually based on a real CIA document. Minor field sabotage, I think is what it's called, which is how to make your job not get anything done, basically, right?
So
I've seen that.
Yeah,
because in the cold world, they would have sent spies in to do industrial espionage, but not just to see, you know, what the Soviets were working on, but also to go, okay, not only are they working on a rocket engine, but while you're there, make sure it gets done as slowly as possible.
And we were having a conversation one day, and we realized, wait, all of the things in this CIA document are what people do when they're playing role-playing games. Like, insist on the procedures. That's like word from word from the.
I'm going to look directly into the camera to know that I want you all to take something home from that the CIA has infiltrated even our hobbies. Take from that what you will.
This was such a hilarious thing to write with the guys. Like, we all contributed to this. Like, most of the people that were just there and just talking. This was so fun to write.
I think
it's not even an entry, just another little in joke thrown in.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these entries you've read, but I think one of my favorite ones is number 3. Haggle over rulings. The GM can be worn down if you just keep talking.
Number 4, bring up irrelevant media and social issues. It makes the game slower and reduces the impact of game events.
There you go. Perfect.
Yes. I can't get over how like this is the exact same advice from the real documents. Lower morale by being unfair and arbitrary in your descriptions and rulings.
Yeah.
I remember that one. It's like, oh yeah, promote slackers and
Exactly.
Yeah,
everyone
promote
jealous and
slackers
mad.
and berate the good workers. Yeah.
Special shout out to Mono Makes for the 4D logo at the bottom there.
Yeah, it's so
That's
good
so
looking.
cool.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
We should make that our standard if he gives us the permission, of course.
Yeah.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
I'm printing banners as we speak.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Amazon has a custom standards for about $25. You can put any logo you want on there.
There you go.
Nice. Well, I think that's enough for tonight.
Yeah.
If anybody who's watching, one of the creators wants to like show off their game, I could do another stream sometime and we could talk about your game.
Yeah.
Please do that. I love
Yes.
spouting out about my game, but I think every game deserves it.
Yeah.
These are all great entries. I think this is such an awesome book.
Yeah.
And you should buy it.
Yes.
Yes.
For what
Or
you
just
want.
download it for free. Whatever. Just
There, yes.
Yep.
I think
Absolutely.
it's what 168 pages,
something like that. Yeah.
something like that.
Like just
It's
under 170. Yeah.
and it's full of people that are passionate about RPGs. So you're not getting some guys trying to reach a page or a word count on any of these.
None of us are here for a job, but none of us were, really. Like I said, I've worked in publishing, and you're always trying to go, oh man, we're on the expensive glossy paper. Can you like cut this down a page so we're not? And it's like, okay, no, nothing we're focused on, right?
Yeah, these are all passion projects.
These last 3 pages, I mean, they came like while we were still working on it. It's from a conversation. It's called Operation Apple Rotation, by the way.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even read the crossed out there. That's so funny.
Real quick, where's the best place for everyone to find each of us in case they have questions about our specific games?
Go ahead and start us at it.
I mean, you can find me. Of course, you can find any of us in the 4D Discord. But if you're looking for me somewhere else, I have a very small RPG channel on YouTube. It has the exact same name. The best place to find me, though, is probably in the Mithras Discord server. I am always available there.
Where do we find you, Conway?
I am mostly just on the 4D RPG Discord.
Yeah, so come into the 4D Discord, get vetted, so you can speak to Conway on equal footing.
I will vet you.
There you go.
Actually, if you buy the 4D mixtape, it comes with a coupon for free vetting.
Yeah,
it's like it's for free.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Uriah? Uriah, come join the call so that you can show your
talk
game.
about your game. Yeah.
I have a very limited social media presence. I try and keep it as small as possible, so pretty much limited to the 4D Discord server.
Yeah. Well,
Tyler,
you can of course find me on the server as well, or on YouTube at Flame Zombie. That's my YouTube channel. It's a variety channel. I don't just talk about RPGs, but obviously talk about that. Or if you're in the Stillwater, Oklahoma area and you are interested in martial arts, come check us out at Stillwater Martial Arts, 2 p.m. on Sundays.
Nice.
And I'm not a contributor. I didn't make a game for this book, but if you're watching this, you're already on my channel. I'm in the 4D Discord as well. I'm in a few other Discords, but mainly 4D Discord.
Yeah.
Just getting back from having dinner with Crispy.
Dinner with royalty, I see.
Look at this guy.
Crispy what? Crispy wings?
He's actually with Crispy's Tavern.
Yeah.
He's getting in with the dungeon tubers now.
He's trying to get in that group chat.
Yes.
I've had a great time, you guys. I think this was
awesome.
Not only just doing this stream, but working on this mixtape. I literally was like up all night trying to finish it for the deadline, and then I saw Conway submit his like 3 days later.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was like,
man.
oh no.
But I think it was worth it. Trenchbug is, I think, it's not just because you said you were excited to play my game, but I really think yours is really cool. And I want to play it.
All right,
for sure.
Right.
And I think again we should say that Space Roadie is the most badass of us all.
Wouldn't have happened without him.
Sure.
Yep, exactly.
It's thanks to him that it happened. He took the leadership, took the initiative on this, and was working with everybody to make things go easily. And some of us submitted just like Word documents, and he formatted them for us in Affinity, made them look good.
And let me say something as an editor. He does something that us professional editors don't, which is super annoying, which is when we're working on our own projects, we sit there and we just work on them for years because we don't look at it and go, yes, there's still errors in it. Just send it, have it out there. Because it's way better to have it out there with errors than it is to do what I'm doing and go, oh, there's another typo. Edit that. There's another typo. In fact, let me just rewrite this whole section. And I'm on like the third rewrite of this project. And it's like, at this point, I'm like, this has been great motivation for me to go, just finish it, damn it. Just do the thing.
For sure.
All right. Thanks all for watching, commenting. Thank you to all the contributors. Again, it is in the description, the link to the drive-through where you can download that.
Pay what you want, baby.
That's all. Pay what you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No excuse.
Y'all take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. I'll see you guys.